Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss about Indian Mental Health Act 1987 Chapter 4. In the last videos, we had a discussion regarding Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and in this video, we are going to discuss about Chapter 4. Chapter 4 deals with admission and detention of psychiatric patients in psychiatric hospital or psychiatric nursing home. It includes three parts. Part 1, admission on voluntary basis. Part 2, admission under special circumstances. And Part 3, that is reception orders. First is Part 1, that is admission on voluntary basis. In that, two sessions we can see. First one is request by major for admission as a voluntary patient. Second is request by guardian for admission. Request by major for admission means any person not being a minor who considers himself to be a mentally ill person and desires to be admitted to any psychiatric hospital or psychiatric nursing home for the treatment may request the medical officer in charge for being admitted as a voluntary patient. Next is requested by guardian for admission. It will happen in the case of minor, where the guardian of minor considers such minor to be mentally ill person. He may request the medical officer in charge for admitting such minor as a voluntary patient. Next is discharge of voluntary patient. The medical officer in charge of psychiatric hospital can write for discharge if they are satisfied with the reason for discharge, and it is based on the request of any voluntary patient or by the guardian of patient if the patient is minor, and the discharge will take place within 24 hours with such request. Next, if the discharge of the voluntary patient is not in the interest of voluntary patient, he can take necessary steps within 72 hours of the receipt. If no request has been made by the voluntary patient before the expiry of that period, that is 72 hours, seeks opinion from a board of 2 medical officers to check whether such voluntary patient needs further treatment. If the board found out that such voluntary patient needs further treatment, the medical officer shall not discharge the voluntary patient but continue his treatment for a period not exceeding 90 days at a time. Next, Part 2, admission under special circumstances. Any mentally ill person who does not or unable to express his willingness for admission as a voluntary patient on the behalf of him, a relative or a friend of a mentally ill person can apply for the admission. Next is Part 3. Part 3 deals with reception orders. An application for reception order may be made by the medical officer in charge or by the husband, wife or any other relatives of mentally ill person, where the medical officer in charge is satisfied that the mentally ill person is suffering from mental disorder and he is required to be continued in the hospital, or it is necessary in the interest of safety, the particular person shall be detained in the psychiatric hospital or psychiatric nursing home. Next is powers and duties of police officers. Every officer in charge of a police station can take the mentally ill person into the custody, but no person shall be detained by the police without being informed. Every person who is taken into the protection and detained shall be produced before the nearest magistrate within a period of 24 hours. The magistrate will do thorough examination and inquiry with the help of medical officers and other department officers to pass the reception orders for his or her admission in the hospital or nursing home. Next is order in the case of mentally ill person cruelly treated. Every officer in charge of the police station or any other common person like us have the responsibility to take care of mentally ill person who is not under proper care and control and need to report the fact into the magistrate within the local limits of whose jurisdiction of the mentally ill person resides. Next, admission under detention of mentally ill prisoner. Based on the various sections of the Prisoners Act, the reception of the mentally ill person into any psychiatric hospital will take place. Next is detention of alleged mentally ill person by medical officer. When any person alleged mentally ill person appears before magistrate, the magistrate may order to submit the details of the detention of the alleged mentally ill person within 10 days, and no person shall be authorized to be detained for a continuous period exceeding 30 days. This is about Chapter 4 of Indian Mental Health Act. Hope you understand. In the next video, we will see Chapter 5 of Indian Mental Health Act 1987. Thank you.